Hey y'all, Cogiflector here. Today we're talking about the vertical gardens again. We call them verticals for short. I wanted to give them proper names like Gertrude and Finwickle. For some reason my wife wouldn't go for that. Anyhow, my wife's going to host today's show because she's more of a subject matter expert than I am on the dirt and the plants. And now, my collaborator in so many things.
Hi, this is Elizabeth from elizabethburr.com. Today I am helping Koji fill his vertical gardens. Back here at our compost bins, we have 3 of them. And you'll notice that one is kind of full and the other 2 are not. So this bin is the bin that we've been throwing our garden scraps in. And you'll notice that it looks really icky and mucky. It smells really bad. This is compost done wrong. It has too much green. I'm not worried about the creepy crawlies that you saw, our little grubs in there, they're fine. But this is far too wet and mucky to be really good compost. I could mix it in with my soil and things for my garden, but I'd rather not. Over here is where I'm trying to do a fix. And you can see it's not quite as mucky, but it's still far too wet, far too green. So we have here leaves that I have saved from last year. And okay, but notice that I'm doing it slowly. I didn't just take a whole bunch from the first compost and put it into the second compost. I am doing this slowly because I want to mix it in and I want to get it as dirt-like as possible. If you look closely, this looks a little bit different, a little bit better. I got the leaves in there, added just a tiny bit more of the slop, mixed it up. I'm going to let it sit for at least a day and then I'll try and even it out some more from there. This is a slow process, but that's okay because I don't want this stuff until next summer. This is the compost that I am going to be using for the vertical gardens. It's pretty good. I may have actually gotten a little bit too much brown in it, but it's definitely much more soil-like than the other 2 that I showed you. How do I determine how much compost to use? I take a look at how many beds I have to fill and try and space it out evenly. It's not rocket science. I'm sure if you went to a master gardener, they'd give you a lovely compost to dirt rating, but I do the best I can with what I have. This is the normal dirt that we have in our area. It's not too, it's not too good for growing things when it dries out. Let me see if I can get here where I'm working with the shovel. You can see here, this is really hard and rock-like. And I'm going to take a little scoop of this stuff where the puppies have been digging. And I'm going to take it over here by my garden dirt. And you're going to see a marked difference. Okay, look at the difference in that color. In our area, you have to work to get dirt like this. And I did, in the very beginning, go and purchase a little bit of a garden mix, which had more of the organic stuff in it. And I did mix in some sand to keep it a little looser. You can see that this is not nearly as rock-like, functions much more like dirt. Okay. One of the big things, though, is that even though we have leaf pickup available and we pay for it in our sanitation budget or in our sanitation bill, we don't use it. We keep our leaves right here. And as you can see, one thing we use them for is compost. The other thing we use them for is filling our verticals. So, there again, I don't use a lot of rocket science in this. I kind of eyeball and estimate. I've got about 8 more large planting areas to fill. So I need to kind of work it out. But one of those planting areas, you may notice over there, those 2 white bags, that's sand that we found along the side of the road. And we're going to mix that in because my herb garden seems to do better with a little bit of sand. And so do the root vegetables around here, as you can guess from the soil demonstration earlier. What I'm going to do now is just kind of estimate and guesstimate and fill the wheelbarrow. I don't mix as I fill because when I go to put it in the vertical gardens, it will mix on its own. Before we get to the verticals, I want to show you these. Yes, these are wading pools. I bought them because when I started looking for easy above ground planters, they were pretty cheap. They're $10 each-ish when they're new. And I have actually been able to find many that are in perfect shape for planting at the side of the road at the beginning and the end of the summer. You have to put holes in the bottom because they got to drain, so picking up somebody else's trash doesn't matter. You do have to worry, however, about code, and you will notice that they are hidden nicely behind a little privacy wall here, which makes them perfect. And with the verticals behind this privacy wall, we are well within code with them. About 4 days ago, I finished filling one of the verticals, and you can see here that it's just the mix that I was talking about, some dirt, some leaves. It has already started to settle, and the settling I'm going to talk about when I show you about planting. The settling is an issue you have to take into consideration, but because there's so many leaves in the mix and they're going to continue decomposing and breaking down during the growing season, it's just something to be expected. And even if all you put in here was dirt, you would get some settling. Depending on how much leaf matter you put in here, you could find that it settles a quarter of the way down to half the way down. Here's the mix. Got leaves on top. I kind of did this lasagna style, dirt, leaves, dirt, leaves, dirt, leaves, because when I dig in, I'm just going to go straight down. Okay, I'm going to get a shovelful of dirt, which I can't do one-handed. And I'm going to come over here, and you can see that I've already put some in here. If you look real close, there we go. Nice trick, because you have the wire and the yard cloth, or the weed cloth, whatever you want to call it, and we like stuff that is a little bit more biodegradable. The clothespins are a really nice touch. It makes it just a little less of a fight to get the dirt where you want to go, but it's not all going to go perfectly where you want to go. Just do the best you can.
My wife wants me to build her a hopper to help her with loading the vertical gardens with dirt. So I'm going to start with these scraps left over from when I was making some shelves. Simply because here's the perfect width for the opening of the hopper. You got a nice tapered angle. All I got to do is chop it off and then put the sides on it, and it's ready to go. So that's what we're gonna do. That's not right. Okay, we'll see how that works. I may have made it too big, but since it was all scrap, it didn't matter. So, we'll see. Use it for a bit. Like I said, I may have made it too big, in which case I'll just lop off the top. But that's the inside of it, and see how it just channels that dirt right down inside. That ought to work. Okay, we'll see how that works. I may have made it too big, but since it was all scrap, it didn't matter. So, we'll see. Use it for a bit. Like I said, I may have made it too big, in which case I'll just lop off the top. But that's the inside of it, and see how it just channels that dirt right down inside. That ought to work.
Now it's time to get ready to plant our verticals. The big trick with verticals is you have to start with plants. Some of these were started on our own. Some of them I've transplanted. They were purchased. You can see the tags in there. But however you choose to do it, you have got to start with plants, because if you stick a seed in the side of a pile of dirt, it's going to grow straight up and suffocate because it can't get through the dirt. This is a high-tech diagram of what I want the gardens to be. And you'll see over here are the verticals, and I'm trying something slightly new this year. Instead of doing all one side and one thing, I'm grouping it front and back. I haven't had any problem with doing, say, all Stupus tomatoes here and Crowder peas there and okra and peppers, but I just wanted to try it different and see if there's a difference in the yield. So, I mean, this is all it is. And now I'm going to find the Stupus tomatoes, and we're going to carry them over and we're going to start planting. Planting the verticals. We talked about the settling, and I've got to take that into consideration. So I'm going to go between the two braces, you can see here, right there. And instead of using the top one here, I'm going to use probably this middle one. I could use this one, and sometimes I have taken and done maybe a plant here and a plant here and done kind of a crisscross pattern, chevron if you wish. And because I have about 7 Stupus plants here, if you look down in here, you look down at the roots, and they can be separated. I'll try and show you that in a minute. Then I'm going to do probably 4 on the front and 3 on the back. I need a slightly bigger area to work with, so I've got a planter here. We're going to take the tomatoes, and if I can safely do this, I'll show you on video. If not, I'm going to gently try and take out the whole piece of dirt together and transfer it in here. I can't do it one-handed, so I'm going to do that, try and keep this so far in one piece until I get it in my workspace. It turns out that I have 8 starts, so I'm going to do 4 and 4. So I come over here, I get my shovel, my little planting shovel. I don't want to come right up here underneath the wood. It's not good for the plants, it's too shaded, and as it scooches down, then the plant is shoved up right on the wood. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to kind of make my hole. Shovel's a little dull. Make my hole. Okay, and you can see that this dirt is very, very dry. That's fine. Okay, now I'm going to take one of my tomato plants. I'm going to put it over here on the shovel like so. I don't need all that dirt. I'll just throw it. I'll dump it back over in my dirt pile. Okay. I'm going to take it, slide it in as gently as I can. I use the shovel, if you can kind of see here. I'm using the shovel to guide it in. Oh, that's going to put a shadow on it. So here we go, kind of support it as I use the shovel to guide it in. The Stupus tomatoes are in, and as you can see, I have some on each side of the vertical, which is a very nice thing, kind of doubles my planting ability. One thing that I did learn is that when you want to kind of press them in like you would any other planting, just come in here with your fist and push down from the top. It works great. Now all we have to do is water them in. Since we do not have an irrigation system put together yet, I think Koji's going to work on that project a little later. We're just going to come in here with the hose and you just water it down. And you can just soak it. See what we can do there, just soak it. And you'll even start seeing water coming out of the holes, and that's fine. Get it good and wet around here. It gets hot, it dries out quite quickly. And we do want the water to go a lot of the way down, because We want those roots to be encouraged to go down and not stay up toward the top. And that is how we plant our verticals.
Always marry up, my friends, just like I did.